Perfect. Well, we will go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here. I am Mike Hourigan. I am the Vice President of Marketing for Written Word Media. We own properties Free Booksy, Bargain Booksy, Red Feather Romance, Audio Thicket, and 20Books. So by a show of hands, who's heard of any of those brands? Maybe used them? Wonderful. Awesome. I'm doing my job. Good. Good. Wonderful. Before we get into tactical stuff, I want to start with a story. So when I first started at Written Word Media, I was tasked with putting myself in the author's shoes, and I was tasked with running marketing campaigns for a romance title and a cozy mystery title. And let me just preface this by saying I was not in this vertical before. I've worked in e-commerce and financial technology, and so one of the first things that Written Word wanted me to do is experience what you all go through, right? So with marketing these sort of books. Does this look familiar? If you're ever trying to schedule promos, you have a calendar open, you have multiple promo sites open, and it's such a mess. Like, I did this, and I've been doing this for years, and my blood pressure was going up because it was like, you know, I have these books to market, and then I'm waiting to hear back from these promo sites, and I've set my free days, and it's like, when am I gonna hear back? Am I even gonna know? And then I would hear back from one, and you know, I didn't get it, right? And then it was like, well, I've already set my free days, so what do I do? So let me just start by saying I understand authors' pain with marketing. It's not been set up easily for you all. And it's just a pain in the ass. I mean, it is. Like, one of the things, this is a quote I really love. I know you all can read, but I think it's powerful for me to read it out loud as well. This is from Glennon Doyle. I've written a book, and now I must become a commercial for the book I've written. I have to say words about the words I have already written. Do painters have to draw about their paintings? No, they don't, right? Like, authors, like, you all are unique in this. You know, you're here, and a lot of the sessions are in marketing. You're authors. This is your passion. That's what you like to do. So first off, I just want to give you all a very, strong thumbs up for doing this, because I know it's not easy. So in terms of what I want you all to get out of this today, in terms of tactics, we'll talk about being findable and recognizable, the importance of front and back matter in your titles, list building and why, in my opinion, every author needs an email list, price promotions, which actually our senior marketing manager, Clayton, covered yesterday. Some of you might have been in that session, but I will reiterate what he went over, as well as meta ads. So to start, being findable and recognizable as you're creating your author business, you need to think of yourself as a brand, right? And this is a great example of an author who is Carly Phillips. She's a romance author. You all might have heard of her. And one of the things I wanted to call out is, as you're making your Amazon author page and as you're making your Facebook author profile, there's a few things that I recommend all authors do. So first and foremost, have calls to action on these pages. So Carly here, I know it's a little difficult to see, but she has links to her website. She has links to her TikTok, her Instagram, her private Facebook group, and this is all on her Amazon author profile, which is smart. So if you're gonna be doing the work or paying money to do the marketing and send readers to your Amazon page, or do organic social media to get people to your Facebook page or Instagram profile, make sure you're making it worthwhile by putting these links of what you want readers to do for you. Another thing that I strongly recommend to authors is continuity, and this is kind of what goes along with being recognizable. If you look at Carly's profile, she has the same profile image. So think of it, if you're looking at Target or Coca-Cola, their profiles, they're all gonna have the same image. Target isn't gonna have their bullseye logo on one profile and then a picture of the front of a Target store on the other. It's uniform, so when you look at that, you know I'm looking at Target, I'm looking at Coca-Cola, I'm looking at Carly Phillips, I'm looking at you. So these are just kind of some best practices that I would highly recommend doing for yourself and your profiles. Next but not least is taking full advantage of back matter and front matter. Again, if you are doing the work to get readers to your books, you want them to read through to other books in your series, right? You want them to join your newsletter, follow you on social media, because you don't want a reader to be one and done, just a flash in the pan, right? So you need to give them options. And this is a good example of some back matter where this author, he's listed his mailing list, he's got his Facebook, he has his Twitter, i.e. now X, but Twitter. Also lead magnets too. If I just step back for a quick second, for Carly Phillips, the very top one is sign up for the newsletter and receive 2 free books. That's one of the lead magnets she has going on. I'm not recommending you do that, but it's enticing. Then we get into one of the real big ones, email, email, email. I love GIFs, by the way, and you know, who doesn't like a good cat GIF with the cat being hit by emails. So email is still the gold standard of direct marketing. I've been a digital marketer for 15 years, and when I first started marketing, everyone thought email would, you know, go the way of the ghost. It would be done in a few years. It's still the gold standard. And I'll jump down to the bottom one, but the reason email is the gold standard is it's first-party data that no one can take away from you. So once you have someone's email address, that's yours. Whereas if you're just, you know, selling on Amazon, you're not getting first-party reader data to remarket to them, to tell them about what you have upcoming. So this is very important and extremely valuable. In my opinion, it's the #1 reason kind of for authors to make a website is to collect email addresses to add them to your author newsletter. Sure, you can sell direct later on. That's a great another reason to have a website, but first and foremost, it's a place to send folks to sign up for your newsletter. Also, email, relatively, is a cost-effective direct line of communication for people who want to hear from you. They are giving you their email address because they want to hear from you. If we get through this a little early, I do have some slides at the end, which are also available, I guess, through the Sketch app, but I have 6 best practices for email marketing for authors that I've kind of seen with written word customers that I would recommend you check out, but we'll see if we have time to get to them. In terms of how to build your email list, I've already mentioned back matter. Then there's newsletter swaps, and I'm just gonna take a quick second to get a show of hands. How many authors here have a newsletter? Wonderful, that's 90–95%. How many authors have a newsletter with over 250 subscribers? 500? 1,000? 5,000? 10,000? Nice. How many? 30,000. Wonderful. That's huge. That's really good. So everyone go talk to her after this and see if you can do a newsletter swap. But speak to each other. I mean, 20Books, you're amongst other authors. Talk to other authors who write in the same genre as you. Talk about your newsletter list. What's working, what's not. See if you could do a swap. It's absolutely worthwhile. Another thing is giveaways, right? So on the right is a new product that Written Word just launched. It's called Subscriber Surge Giveaways. It's 20 books from authors at a time. We also give the winner a Kindle, and it's a great way to just add fresh new readers to your list. It's not dissimilar from lead magnets that you could also run, but I know it's hard to stick with email. It's a lot of work. It's just another thing to do, but when it's done well, it can be very, very valuable. Tactic #4. So this is price promos. So on the far right-hand side, you'll see some properties I've already mentioned that Written Word owns or works with. So Bargain Booksy, Free Booksy, Hello Books, and Red Feather Romance. Price promos are very good because they're, from the reader side, because it's a low barrier to entry for readers, right? If it's free, if your book is free or it's 99 cents, they're not having to think much about it. It's less of a hurdle for them to do it. And on top of that, for the author, you're getting reviews, rank increases, read-throughs, and I'll get into that a little bit more in depth in a minute, kind of the positives there. But again, if you're going to discount your title, there's a lot more things you can do than just promo sites that I have down at the bottom. You can ask other authors to promote it, right? With the newsletter swaps or on their social media, your newsletter, digital ads as well, Facebook ads, TikTok ads, Amazon ads. The one thing I would say is just be careful as you're building your brand not to make your readers expect discounts. So it's not bad to use discounts like first in series free or anything like that, but you don't want to do them frequently enough where some readers are going to say, well, I'll just wait, right? Because she's always sending or he's always sending an email with a discount code. So use them sparingly, but they're very effective. In terms of actual promo sites, here's what I would recommend. So if you haven't done a lot of promo sites, David Gorgren, I would highly recommend this link. He pretty much does an annual roundup of the best promo sites. It's written word media sites, it's our competitors, it's our partners, but he does a really good job of explaining which promo sites are working, which are the best ones for your genre, which are the best ones for the price point you might be discounting your book at. So check out David Gorgren. Author forums as well, so you can kind of see this example down here. I believe I took this from either the 20Books private group or the Wide for the Win, which is Monica Leonel's private group. But this author, Jess Murray, anyone have experience with new in books for promotions, seeing them through written word and just wondering about it. So ask away, ask other authors, what's working, what's not, what have you found surprising, what has been a breakthrough for you, utilize the forums. And third, promo site recon, which I'm gonna dig into this in just a minute, so I'm not gonna go into too much depth here, but this is really, really neat. So I'll get to that in just a couple minutes. Also for promos, promo stacking. My partner Clayton mentioned this yesterday in his talk, but promo stacking, which is basically utilizing promo sites across multi-days, different promo sites across multi-days can really make a difference in your ranking. So really what this is, I like this graphic a lot. Amazon in general, if you have a flash in the pan spike in sales or downloads, sure, it's gonna help with your ranking for maybe a day, right? I'm sure a lot of you who've run promos have seen that. It's like, awesome, we jump back up, and immediately we go back down, right? And when you're up there, you get what we call halo effect sales, right? You get readers who are kind of searching your category, your genre, and if you're top 10, top 20, or number 1, you're gonna get a lot of those sales. So it's very valuable to be up there and stay up there as long as possible. So this is why promo stacking is so helpful, because it can expand the time that your book is ranked higher, therefore leading to more halo sales or downloads. What I will say, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'll make a shameless plug. Some of you might have used this, but Written Word Media a few months ago launched what we called our promo stacks, which these are curated and pre-built stacks, not just with Written Word Media sites like Free Booksy, but we've partnered with the Fussy Librarian, ENT, EIQ, Hello Books. And so what you can do is you can find your genre, you can filter by, is my book gonna be free or 99 cents, and then the length of time you want the stack to be. So it can be 1 day, 3 day, or 5 day. And if you look down in the far right, you actually can see when you click on your start date when these will run. So back to my kind of first screenshot that I said, when I did that exercised when I first joined the company, why I was such a pain. This kind of does some of the calendaring for you, and we're synced up on our inventories, even with our partner sites. So what you're seeing is what you'll be able to get. It'll save you from having to wait for an email from a promo site saying, yes, you've been approved or not. So moving outside of promo stacks, Instagram and Facebook ads. Who's been very frustrated with Instagram and Facebook ads? Yeah, right? It's tough. It's really hard. There is a learning curve, and it's your money you're putting out there, right? And when it doesn't work, it's frustrating. And then, it's back to the thing like, I didn't get in this to be a digital marketer. I didn't get in this to run Facebook and Meta ads and have to film myself in short form videos, like on TikTok or Instagram Reels. I didn't really do that or get into this to do that. So I understand it, and that's one of the downsides, as is just constant content creation and testing. You don't know what works until you try it, and you have to take a lot of passes on Facebook and Instagram ads to get it right, to kind of see a positive return on ad spend that's gonna make it worth your while. Not to mention, attribution can be very hard with these ads. If you're sending to Amazon or you're sending to your website, you get into UTM parameters, you get into Amazon attribution links. It can be hard. And it's very difficult to say, I want to invest more in this if you can't track the efficacy, right? So those are some of the downsides of Facebook and Instagram ads. Some of the upsides are, for KDP and wide authors alike, they can be beneficial because you can send traffic to your website. You can send it to Amazon. You can send it to Barnes & Noble. You can send it to Kobo. You can dictate where you're going to send the destination link from the ads. Particularly if you're selling full price books maybe directly on your website, that's when the return on ad spend can really get in the positive range and make spending worthwhile. But it takes some time to get there. And one of the things I would encourage you all to ask in the question section is, if you have some experiences with things that have worked or haven't worked with Facebook and Instagram ads, or you have questions about why something may not have worked, please ask away, because I'd love this to be kind of a communal conversation about it, because everyone's trying to figure it out. Now, here is the super fun thing. Has anyone heard of Facebook Ads Library? I see a few hands. Cool. So as a digital marketer, this is kind of a cheat sheet, I would say, for me. And what you're able to do with this, anyone can do this, you go to that link and you are able to search for any brand, any personality like an author, and you're able to see the Facebook and Instagram ads that they're running right now. So if you're looking for inspiration, I don't want to stand up here and say copy, but imitation is the finest form of flattery. So you need to gain inspiration from somewhere. But if you have some authors you look up to and maybe they're killing it on Facebook and Instagram ads, look them up. Look at their primary text and headlines they're using. Look at the short form video they're using. Are they using mostly static images, or are they doing short form video? It's super helpful, and I know even from a brand perspective, I'll do this too. One of the things I'll do with other promo sites, this is kind of back to when you're evaluating promo sites. One of the things with promo sites is you want to make sure that they are continually adding readers to their list. If the list gets stagnant, your results when you advertise with them are not going to improve. They're only going to decline. One of the best ways to kind of see if a promo brand is investing in their business and making sure you're seeing results is seeing if they're running ads. So if you go to promo brand X and look them up here and they have no Facebook or Instagram ads running right now, it's probably a pretty decent sign that they might not be investing in growing their list. So if you ran a promo with them 6 months ago, there's a chance you might not see any better results, right? Whereas if you look at another one and you see they're running 20 different ads right now, it's pretty clear that they're investing in growing their reader list. So this is cool. I love this. I always nerd out to being able to use Facebook Ads Library, just because you can snoop on what people are doing. So with that, what I'd like to do is wrap up this section, and I do want to get into some of the email best practices, because we do have time for that, which I'm very glad we have. So before I jump into that, with the tactics I just shared, have fun. I know it's hard to have fun when you're spending money and not learning, but it is an iterative process. You've got to learn. You have to fail. You have to A/B test. You fail forward. That's one of my favorite sayings. You know, you're going to fail. It's inevitable, but fail forward. Don't let it stop you, and stick with it. In my experience in marketing across a variety of verticals, I have had a lot of marketing campaigns that have failed, that have not been good. But because I stuck with it, I've been able to see some very good campaigns that I'm very proud of, and I would not have been able to get there and see those results had I have given up, right? So stick with it, just like 11. You can do it. One other quick thing is, so the promo stacks I mentioned, the curated promo stacks, we are offering a discount code for 10% off, which Written Word hardly ever offers discount codes, so I would certainly take a picture of this. We shared this yesterday. We needed to share that the code to be used needs to be in all caps. So if you're taking a note, make sure you're please doing Vegas 10 all caps, otherwise it's not going to work. And this code is available through December 1st. So please use it. It's a great way to kind of see how promo stacking helps, especially with the halo impact on sales. So I'm going to grab a sip of water, let you all take pictures, and then we'll spend a few minutes on email best practices and open it up for questions. Yes? Is that a one-time or can we use it multiple times? That's a great question. The question was, is this a one-time or can you use it multiple? It's a one-time code. Yes? Another great question. So it just needs to be purchased by December 1st, but it can be further out in the future. Yep, good question. How far? Let's see, I think right now we're through February. Inventory is open through February. We can ask some questions, yeah, totally. If, actually, give me 6 or 7 minutes and then I'll actually open up the floor, if that's all right. So I have 6 best practices for author email that I've seen has worked for Written Word Media customers. The first one, pretty self-explanatory, but I think it's very good to call out. Welcome new readers quickly. So if you do, if you do a giveaway, and, you know, Written Word Media sends you a CSV list of readers. Don't wait a month. Don't wait 6 months, please. The readers are going to forget that they signed up for your list. Try to add them and send them a welcome email so you're on their radar. And just be personable. The second one, which authors sometimes struggle with, go ahead and share glowing reviews about your book to spark interest among your new subscribers. Toot your own horn. I know it's very difficult to do, but for readers, that stuff is very, very important for them to see that social proof. That's kind of a core principle of marketing. Social proof does dictate and impact the behavior of others. So sharing positive reviews is great. I've also seen authors really use negative reviews to their benefit, right? You know, it's, if you write steamy and you have a review that like, hey, this was too steamy for me, great, share it with your audience. Some people really want that, like put that in there. You know, be creative about it. Another one that I do like to remind authors of is It's okay to sell in your author emails. You're allowed to do that. You're trying to build your business. It's okay to sell in them. I wouldn't recommend only trying to sell in your emails because then it kind of dilutes the asks and the calls to action when you are trying to sell something. But another neat thing I've seen a few of our authors do is when you do want to have a seller, you maybe have a new release, offer something special like a box set. Maybe that's sold through your website. So, you know, it's unique to the subscribers on your list and it makes them feel special. And also a box set for your all's average order value through your site, it certainly helps. The fourth best practice is share personal news, which I know most of you know, but also share book recommendations, even of books that aren't yours. This goes back to kind of list swapping with other authors. It really helps to create trust and goodwill with your readers. You know, if they know, hey, I'm gonna subscribe to Mike's email list, like if I'm just trying to sell or I'm not, you know, emailing enough and I forget about it, it's not helpful. But if they know, hey, I'm probably gonna find some neat books in the genre I'm interested in, which caused me to sign up for your list in the first place, I'm gonna keep engaging with your emails. So, you know, give, right? Like you need to give in order to ask and receive. That's kind of, you know, the push and pull that everyone has to remember when you put on your marketing hat. Number 5, encourage subscribers to engage and share feedback. You know, it doesn't have to be a one-way street. You don't just have to push information out, ask for information. I can say definitively the best companies, written word media in particular, that do the best are when you actively have conversations with your customers, when you are engaging with them and you're not just telling, you're asking and you're engaging and you're making it a two-way street. Another one I've seen is offer to name a character after someone, you know, maybe do a contest in your email, and that would mean so much to one of your fans or readers. And it's simple enough to do, so it's fun. Just make it fun and exciting. And the sixth best practice that I would say, clean your list. So by clean your list, that means removing dormant and disengaged subscribers. Some sites will do, some email service providers will do that for you. But on kind of MailChimp, MailerLite, some of those that aren't as sophisticated as some of the big email service providers like a Klaviyo or a Sailthrough, you sometimes need to do this manually. So clean your list, but one thing I found that's kind of crazy to me with some of our authors is we've had authors that say they pull readers off their subscriber list if they don't open or click the first email. Please don't do that. Give people some more time. I understand you're being charged for your number of subscribers or sins, but everyone's busy, right? Like you don't, even the brands or authors you love, you're not reading every single one of their emails. How could you, right? But it doesn't mean they might not open the third one and that they might become a lifelong super fan of yours. So give them some time, please. Don't just immediately kick them to the curb, especially if you've paid to get them through a giveaway or something like that. Give them some time. I would typically say, you know, probably by 6 or 7 emails, that's the minimum I would send to someone where I'd need to see 0 engagement before I would consider booting them. Just not the first, please. So with that, we have 15 more minutes, and I want to open it up for questions. I love Q&A with authors. I'm an open book, and please head up to the mic so that the folks streaming in can hear your questions.
So mine is kind of a two-parter,
Yep.
Which you may have initially answered in the shameless plug slide. I was going to ask how spaced out the promos should be, but on your slide it was showing the next day or days, yeah.
So what we've kind of seen, I wish we could just ask Amazon and say, like, what does the algorithm prefer? Typically, you want to do it, I would say, no more than probably, so say you're doing a 5-day stack, right? No more than a day in between. I would aim to do maybe day, maybe skip a day, another day, probably no more than 2 days in between to get that kind of bell curve effect, and therefore the halo rankings. So that's when we built those stacks, that's what we aim for, is we aim to not have more than 1 day really in between them.
So is it Amazon that just came out with the attribution links?
Amazon does have the attribution links.
So is that something that can be incorporated into these stacks? Because the problem that we've had when we've run stacks in the past and when they are so close together is
Yep.
you can't tell where, like, which one worked and which one didn't. So which one, if you're doing them individually, which one should you put your money in next time and which one should you not?
That's a great question. At this point, we do not have that attribution ability built in. We hear that a lot from authors, so I can't say anything definitively, but this is something we're looking into because we really want to give you all insight into what's working and what's not, because if you're spending your money, you kind of want to know.
Right.
So hear you loud and clear.
We have a question from the virtual audience. Megan asks, does written word media offer gift cards? I'd rather get a promo stack for Christmas than another sweater.
I love that. Let me just say I love that. Thank you, Megan. We do not offer gift cards. I'm trying to think if there would be a way to do that. I am the marketing guy. I know. It's not often you get asked for gift cards for marketing tools, right? Like, it's more so for sweaters. Great question. At this point, no, but thank you for asking that.
I've been doing this a long time, but I don't know the difference between an affiliation link and an attribution link.
Good point. So an affiliate link is going to be through an affiliate link is really partially, it is for attribution and link tracking, but historically it's also been for making commissions, so kind of third parties using that sort of stuff. And then the attribution link goes further, and I do believe the attribution link is going to help with cross-domain tracking. If I've messed that up, I apologize. The attribution link, I do need to do some more research into, but I believe that's kind of the difference. Correct. Correct. Yep. The question was, is that to take the person to your link on your listing on Amazon? And that's correct for the Amazon attribution. Yes.
So for email marketing and your newsletter, I have 3 different pen names, and they're a little disparate. Would you recommend doing like 3 different newsletters? Because it's like sci-fi and thriller, and then like romance or mid-fantasy.
Let me make sure I understand the question. So you have 3 different pen names, each of which writes in a different genre.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to promote them, say on a promo site, would you recommend doing them like separate, like a bargain booksy or a free booksy? Is that?
No, like completely different lists, like newsletter lists in my email newsletter. Like, would you split up your lists? Because those who read my thriller would probably not cross over to my sweet romance.
Yeah, that's a good point. I probably would have separate lists.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would, especially if they're different genres.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Okay.
Yes. Now, what I will say too is there's a lot of power in cross promotion, meaning if you have one pen name, newsletter, one author's pen name with the newsletter list of say 500, in the bottom of it, you could say, are you also interested in romantic comedy or fantasy? Sign up for this author, right? You could do a newsletter swap with yourself. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Think about it, right? There's really nothing wrong with it. One of the things when I came to written word media is all of our lists were very segmented, right? They were separate. Like Red Feather Romance was, quite different than Bargain Booksy. And I started putting footers in the bottom of our reader emails saying, hey, are you, really interested in romance? We have Red Feather Romance. Or do you like audiobooks? And then I would plug our Audio Thicket brand. And that's been really good. And if anything, it's actually helped retain some of our readers, because some of them likely would have kind of gotten purged, like I said, with list cleaning. Maybe they weren't as engaged with the Bargain Booksy list, but then they discovered Red Feather Romance, and it's like, great, I would rather you be subscribed to a list you're gonna engage with than to, just fall off and we never see you again. So you can do the same thing with your pin names. Yes.
So if we were to run a promo for First in Series, and we have a choice of doing that for free or 99 cent, and obviously free is going to have more reach overall, but perhaps fewer long-term engaged readers. Do we have any data on long-term performance of how many people in either of those categories will convert into series readers? Or is it just cross your fingers and hope really hard?
That's a great question. Can I ask one quickly back to you? So for your series, how many titles are in your series?
The one I'm thinking of is 4.
Is 4?
Yeah, Epic
Great.
Fantasy Tetralogy, so fast
Perfect.
but few, yes.
So what we've typically seen with our authors is, if you have a series that is at least 3 titles, you're usually better in terms of long-term return on ad spend of doing First in Series free and doing those as promos with us, like on Free Booksy. If your series is below 3, then I would recommend looking maybe into the 99 cents. But if that series is 3 books or more, you're typically better to do First in Series free. That's been our experience. Yep. Perfect. Any other questions? Great. Perfect. Well, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it.